Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is 3 Book Reviews, and I am here today to talk to you guys about the Bumblebee home video release. More specifically, the Blu-ray release, because I happened to get hooked up from Paramount, and they sent me a copy to review. So thank you very much to Paramount for that one. So before getting this movie in the mail, I actually hadn't seen it. I missed it when it was in theaters. Everyone told me it was a phenomenally great movie. Everyone told me that it was this wonderful love letter to Transformers, and I was excited going into watching it. Unfortunately, the movie did not live up to my expectations. Outside of the war for Cybertron, or the fall of Cybertron, or the beginning of the film, which was mind-blowingly cool and apparently a late-minute addition to the film itself, as evidenced by the special features on this bad boy, it was lackluster. I mean, Haley Steinfeld did great. Bumblebee was great, but the dialogue was so absolutely terrible. And as much as I like John Cena, he was hemming it up. The best way to describe this movie is kind of like if Ivan Reitman was directing Bumblebee at the same time he was directing Beethoven in the early 90s. That's kind of the vibe I got from this movie. It's not inherently bad. There was a lot about it that was really good, but it ultimately fell flat, I think, from what I'm used to, which is the Michael Bay universe that's out there. And that's kind of the universe that I've spent the last 11 years now almost enjoying, or 12 years almost enjoying. So this was a little bit different. Not terrible, very enjoyable, but go in with like low expectations if you are a mild fan. If you're a diehard fan and you love the Gen 1 look that they showed, that was great. But everyone pretty much just talks about the opening of the movie. That's actually, looking back on all the commentary I heard, it was pretty much just the opening of the movie that was really good. So again, I wasn't super impressed with it. Not a bad movie. I will totally watch it again. My daughter really seemed to like it, so it's more aimed for a younger audience, and that's okay. But I do hope for the sequels that they ramp it up a little bit. They amp it up a little bit more. Better writing. You don't need full-on Michael Bay explosions, but the other part of this too was Travis Knight shot this movie exceptionally clean. It felt like you could tell it was shot digital. The framing, at least the Blu-ray, looked really clean. Sometimes that felt like it was a bit too much. Like it wasn't as, I don't want to say gritty, because to me that feels like it's, going back to the Bay style, but it just felt too clean. And there were parts of it that, again, just didn't really jive for me. But one of the things I was excited about was looking into the whole motion comic aspect that they put in there, the Battle for Half Dome for Sector 7. Now, or Section 7. And Section 7 was a big part of the previous films of the Michael Bay movies, especially with John Turturro's character, Simmons. Now, Simmons makes an appearance in the movie. I didn't even realize it until I was watching the special features, some of the deleted scenes, and they got an actor that did look like a younger John Turturro. And we actually, through the motion comic, get to see a lot more of him in that one. Like he's kind of the main character, but you don't really put it together right away. It took me a little bit of time to realize that's who it is, because it does come with this little comic book right here. Now, this little comic right here is Sector 7 Adventures, The Battle at Half Dome, and it's horribly written. And it's the first half roughly of the movie, of the little motion comic that's on the DVD, which gets a little bit better by the end because it ties into the other Transformers movies. But that comic alone is oof. And then the voice acting on the motion comic is pretty bad. And I support motion comics. I love the concept of them, but I felt this was, again, very much aimed for such a younger audience. And that might just be my own personal bias coming into play here. That is something I will fully acknowledge and admit, that it could be my own personal bias coming into play, simply because I was in my 20s when I was, 25, when Transformers came out in the summer of 2007. And that blew my mind 12 years ago. Now I just turned 37 the other day, so I still like that kind of stuff, but I can see how this is aimed at a younger audience. Not to say I'm not going to go watch the next movie. I do want to see continued adventures of Bumblebee. But I don't think we're going to get that specifically, because even though Paramount said it was a profit, I went out today to go shoot an episode of Blu-ray Therapy, which is my weekly travel to the store to see what movies are out and what displays are set up for them. And there was absolutely no fanfare for Bumblebee, none whatsoever. The only special edition I found was the Best Buy Steelbook edition, which looks amazing, and I would buy it simply for the cover alone. But ultimately, That was it. There wasn't anything else. No other special editions. The only thing you get is you do get a free version of Transformers through, I believe, Vudu. And that's another problem with this too, with the digital side of this. So I came with a digital code, which I tried using at first because when they sent me this, it had just hit digital. So I figured it would work. It didn't. But also this is going through Ultraviolet, which is now closing down. So you got to jump through hoops on this sucker in order to even get the digital code to work. So that is another problem there. But looking at the movie and my criticisms of the film, the special features were okay. There was a fair amount of outtakes that were very kind of out of place, right? It was all John Cena. It was just like, hey, we got John Cena as the big star of this movie. Why don't we let him just have a little bit of fun and then just kind of let him just go with it? And they did. And those are pretty entertaining. The only one, though, that I felt like should have probably been in the movie itself was at the very end when Memo rolls up to Burns and they kind of have this back and forth. And it's like oh, dog, is she your girlfriend? Nah. Oh, dude, but you like her. And there's like this kind of like big bro thing that I was really laughing at. I thought that was pretty good. I think that would have been better in the movie than the take that they used. They showed a few more deleted scenes giving you kind of an alternate opening, which you can totally see why the alternate opening ended up being changed to the Battle of Cybertron, because the opening of the movie was B already on Earth, already injured, and him running from the military, but it's this gigantic yellow robot that's apparently able to very much sneak through the woods in Yosemite and not actually be, you know, seen. I thought that was kind of dumb. He had kind of some camo going on too, which I just felt was very dumb. And I can see why they wanted to change the opening to what they did. There was a couple more scenes with some stuff about Haley Steinfeld's character, Charlie. They gave us more backstory in regards to her friends and her family life. And the friend aspect of it, the friend storyline or subplot, I think would have actually done well in order to kind of solidify her as a character. I felt I got more out of the character from her with these deleted scenes, because in the movie, you know, they just, there's not much with her characterization that you feel, oh, okay. Like her dad died. That's unfortunate, but there's no real, like, you just look at her as being an angsty teenager and that's about it. Never mind the references that, you know, in Bumblebee, there's a scene where they wash Bumblebee for the first time and she takes out the honeycomb, you know, before naming him as being a bumblebee. Cause I felt that was kind of like, they reference it in the trailer, like there's the bees and like, oh, that's how she's going to get the name. And that's not even how she gets the name. I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I was like, okay, that's fine. You know, there's no audio commentary. There's some behind the scenes stuff. Some, like I said, deleted scenes. There's the motion comic, which is this kind of a one-time watch. As far as Blu-rays go, I mean, it really, you know, it says here like brand new motion comic, 14 deleted scenes and outtakes and over 60 minutes of bonus content, which is true. There is over 60 minutes of bonus content. One of them is a 20-minute long behind the scenes, which is interesting. It was all interesting stuff. And you learn through watching these kind of the makings of that they very much wanted to move away from Michael Bay. They very much wanted to move away from what he had created. He was referenced a number of times in this, but you could see through what Travis Knight was saying and the producers and the writers. They're like, look, we know what Michael Bay did. This is totally different. Like we want to make this more of a character story versus an explosion, you know, bang bang wahoo story. And I get that, but I do feel that it also kind of suffered as a result of not having those kind of action-based moments, which is why the producer, Lorenz de Bonaventura, came out and said, hey, listen, no, for the next one, we're going to bring more Bayhem into the mix. And that's caused a bit of middling reaction from people. But at the end of the day, look, if you enjoyed the movie, you're going to enjoy this. I think that if they would have given you the original 1986 movie instead of the 2007 movie as a special feature on this one, I think that would have been a better deal because Gen 1 played a big part in the design of Cybertron, as well as a lot of the special features are talking about the love of Gen 1. We get the Gen 1 out of the 1986 movie. Like, that would have been better, I think, in my opinion. And I'm hoping that for the sequel, they spend a little bit more time on the characterization. The character of B was great. I loved him. I liked Charlie. I liked Memo the more I got to know him. But it felt just like so much of a kid's movie that at the end of the day, I was just kind of like, you know, I was just, I don't know. I just don't really see myself coming back on my own to watch this again for fun. As part of a marathon, if I'm watching the other ones, yes. But on my own, I don't really, I don't know, it's more like a one-time watch. But that's, again, my opinion. That's one man's opinion. What is your opinion? I'm curious to know your thoughts on this one. Let me know down in the comments below. Did you like the movie? Did you pick it up on home video? Did you get the 4K version, the Steelbook from Best Buy, which looks dope? Or what? Your thoughts. I want to hear them. Write them below. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Matt Jarbo. This has been $3 Reviews. Have yourself a great day, and peace out.